Let's talk about La Resistance. From the post-millennial, 500,000 sign up on Gettr after Joe Rogan joins platform with a simple tweet.
To see it.
Joe Rogan destroyed big tech and tore apart the chains of political discrimination, holding back millions of patriots. Okay, that might be a little bit over the top, but
hyperbolic.
As we are talking about the power of Silicon Valley and the metaverse and these tech billionaires, any opposition to this, be it, Gettr or Gab or whatever, is a good thing. The Post-Millennial reports more than 500,000 people have joined Gettr, a pro-free speech social media alternative. The surge in popularity was sparked by Joe Rogan. I don't think that's true necessarily. They say it was sparked by Joe Rogan joining the platform. I think it was Dr. Robert Malone and Marjorie Taylor Greene being banned.
I think it was a snowball.
And then Malone goes on Joe Rogan podcast and says, "I'm on Gettr."
Situation.
I signed up. I'm pretty sure I signed up, and a bunch of I saw some people signing up.
Oh, Tim doesn't want to get written out of the story. That's what it is.
No. I was not the first person. I saw other people saying they were getting on Gettr.
No, I know because you sent me a message that morning,
right
before Joe Rogan said anything.
Joe Rogan.
No,
and I was like,
no,
hey,
I'll back you up on that. You did.
I said, do you know the guys at Gettr? It's not like I need to gain control of the account.
Well, because what they do is and a lot of like Minds did this too, where they would take, like, if someone's got a big account somewhere else, they would go and then reserve the same name for them, so that someone can't come out and camp on your
exactly
on your profile name. Mm-hmm.
So I saw other people posting they were going to Gettr. I've done this before, but typically I'm like, when Gettr came out, I was like, I'm not going to sign up for another one of these things, man. I got too many already. But then after listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, when I heard Dr. Malone say he was going to be there, I was like, I'll claim my account. I'll get on there, because if people are going to be using it, I want to hear what they have to say if they're getting banned. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene is on there, of course. Carl Benjamin is on there.
Yeah.
Then I saw Joe Rogan sign up, and then I was like, oh, get it. And then everybody after that, once Joe Rogan was like,
were open.
But it was his podcast that did it. When I heard his podcast and Malone said he was on it, that's when I was like, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to see what's up. So I think that is what drove. It wasn't Joe Rogan joining. It was Joe Rogan talking about it on his show.
We were saying it was Gettermas. I mean, I had better engagement, and people know that, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I'm on Twitter a little bit, though. But I had better engagement on Gettr that day. Or in fact, actually, it's still going on. Even till today, I've been having better engagement on Gettr than I've been having on Twitter. And that's just because there's more people out there. And so there's a lot of people in the mainstream media who don't understand what engagement is. And they don't understand how social media works. And I saw some people tweeting out like, oh, well, Gettr doesn't have as many users as Twitter, so you're diluting your brand, et cetera, by going on these things. I'm like, no, you don't get how this works. You totally don't get how this works.
When the New York Times gets like 3 retweets,
they go, oh my gosh, it's flooded. Their notifications are flooded.
It's crazy when you look at mainstream celebrities and they get no interactions. And there are a few people who work for these big media companies that I know, and I'm like, yo, their accounts are so fake. They get followers because they're put on what's called.
I can always tell, dude.
Suggested user lists.
I can always tell.
When people sign up for Twitter, they're like, follow this person. They go, okay, and then no one cares what the person has to say.
Well, this is the Rubin ratio. Didn't Rubin come up with that?
What is it?
So it was the Rubin ratio, where it's the amount of followers you have versus the amount of engagement you get.
Ah, I've not heard that.
Yeah. So if you have and if you look at like an Anderson Cooper, right? Like he has a really bad Rubin ratio because he'll have like 3 million followers
and no one
get
engages.
Like 20 retweets. Yeah.
And then for me, I make some ish post about random garbage and get like 1,000 retweets.
Exactly.
And then people in media believe it's real, and then everyone who retweets it's in on the joke. I really love that. The funny thing is, so many, I said, LOL, Joe Biden is so dumb, haha, got him or something. And then MEAWW runs the story like Tim Pool was slammed. I'm like, isn't it obvious to these people yet? Like that my tweets are garbled nonsense?
It's kind of this weird dynamic where they've decided to turn. So you understand, like, if you're not someone who's part of the program, right? If you're not on team Just Look Up, right?
Yeah.
You're a zoo animal, right? Like you're an exhibit to them. It's what I remember. There was one time where Cernovich and I were just randomly joking around about how ugly cargo shorts are, and we got written up. They're like, the right wing has launched an attack campaign on cargo shorts. How dare they? And like, it's like this thought piece, and they were trying to explain how like right wing ideology led to and I'm like, guys, it was Like, it's just, we're just
Let me-
messing around.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with cargo shorts.
There's everything wrong.
I want to let you guys real quick. I want to say something important. 2 things.
Completely disagree.
Technically 3 things. Twitter does not drive engagement. So this was true back when I worked at Vice and Fusion. They'd always, like, I think I'm not sure if they did, but I'm pretty sure Fusion
drives engagement on Twitter.
But
yeah.
Fusion was like, we don't care for a Twitter button because nobody clicks links on Twitter to go out.
Nope.
So but here's the important thing. On Gettr, check this out. Daily Mail has signed up for an account. This is big. They got 384,000 followers. I don't know how many are actual followers on Gettr because they do this thing where they just say you have followers on Twitter for some reason.
They migrate your followers over. Yeah.
Then people claim their accounts or something.
Yeah, and I wish they would. I wish they would. It's clever because it's for a startup, but I wish they would at least if you're as the user, you could see the differentiation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That you could see, hey, this is real.
Here's what's important though. In their latest posts from yesterday, AOC's ex-communications director says Biden is old, as ish, and deeply unpopular. It's got 164 reposts, like retweets effectively, 450 likes, 36 replies. That is really good engagement. The New York Times doesn't even get that engagement on Twitter.
Gettr engagement's real.
It's legit.
Completely
people
real.
talk, and that's what's important. Are you engaging with people? But more importantly, they're actually getting play they probably wouldn't get on Twitter.
Yeah.
Gettr's got
By the
better
way,
engagement.
and I've seen some people
Early
asking me
adopters.
about this. They say, why are there so many Chinese accounts on Gettr? And this has come up a lot. And that's one thing where, I realized because I've been on Gettr for a little bit that people don't realize this, that Gettr was the first community that came to it was the Chinese whistleblower community. And these guys, I went out and spoke at an event that they held actually on the 4th of July at the World Trade Center. And my wife and I got up and we both gave a speech in Mandarin to them.
Wow.
It's this massive organization. It's overseas, predominantly overseas Chinese that have fled the regime, as well as some that are inside China still that are now able to use Gettr and use other places to communicate. And people don't realize how many of them there are. So I think something like I was watching an interview with Jason Miller, and he actually admitted that like only 30% of Gettr's user base is US. And the rest is overseas. And Twitter's, I think, is even less than that. Twitter's like 15% US.
I just wanted to ask you, what makes you trust Gettr, and are there any kind of guarantees that they won't become the next Twitter and start censoring people? Because there's already some rumors that people are being censored and deplatformed from there. Are there any kind of guarantees that you're reassured by when it comes to Gettr? Because I signed up because I just saw everyone doing it, but I'm, of course, skeptical.
I mean, I don't think there's any guarantees on anything in life. Was it death and taxes, right?
Yep.
But, I caught, and I think I caught yesterday when you were talking about this, it's your terms of service, right? Are you being held to, are you upholding your terms of service, or are you playing games with some kind of like amorphous, vague, ambiguous community guidelines that nobody can really make any sense of? So give me your terms of service. Okay, I'll read this. I'll say I can say this, I can't say that, etc. Same way YouTube has terms of service, right? They have certain very clearly delineated things that you can and can't say. Okay, fine. Like this is yours is your playground. I'm going to play by your rules. But at the same time, if you're just arbitrarily censoring people, then that's what I'm going to call out.
Yeah, we read the terms and services. They seemed very legalese and very vague from our perspective. I mean, that's how I saw it. Is there anything particular in there that kind of you saw that's different than the other platforms?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
I'm looking at the terms right now. You may not post
I think a lot of that
We
stuff.
we read the Gettr terms the other day. They have like
profane. Can't post profane stuff on Gettr.
hate speech is banned.
Yeah. Define
Hate
profane.
speech is outright banned.
Offensive, yeah.
Is it proprietary?
explicitly.
Is it proprietary code? Is it open source code or proprietary code? I can't find it open source. I think it's
The terms
proprietary.
Now this is important.
The
Is
whole
it criminally defined hate speech like when
up to the
police
admins.
officers get
There's
to
no
go
such
after
thing as criminally defined.
you know
Anything
what I mean?
unlawful.
There is in other countries.
Like who's going
Right.
to be the
Yeah.
one? That's
'Cause
what I
like-
mean. Are
because
they
like-
going to
well,
be
no,
implementing the laws
because
from?
this is-
Are they going to be implementing the laws from Germany?
No,
or
but-
is
but
there
Luke-
going to be someone else who's going to be making those decisions on what is hate speech and what
It's
is not?
usually the
and
state
who's
law.
going to be making those decisions?
because this
and
is
what
with Rumble.
oversight will there be?
With Rumble, though, this is the issue because Rumble is Canadian, and in Canada they do have hate speech laws.
It comes
Yeah.
down to the state that the company's incorporated in. You got to follow those state laws if you're going to go by.
And Gettr is
unlawful.
incorporated.
But then,
don't know.
but
Let's
then
find out.
Rumble is moving to Florida,
Yes.
right? They're moving their
Yeah.
headquarters. So
Good.
my question is, will their move to Florida then change their terms of service
It'll change how they define what's legal.
in a sense? Because even though they're still
I think
operating in
the
Canada.
terms are written so they can stay on the Play Store and the App Store.
Well, yeah, obviously,
You don't have to enforce them ever. That's true.
Yeah.
but they check that stuff.
It's
Well, they make
basically-
excuses. I mean, Twitter's loaded with adult content, and they don't
Yeah.
care about that.
You know, it's like
hasn't that always been part of Twitter though?
No, I'm pretty sure it's not allowed. But
think-
it's quote unquote not allowed, but they allow it.
like
they don't
every
ban it.
social network, they can ban you at any time for
'cause
any reason.
Dorsey, but when Dorsey was CEO, like he was always very public that they allowed porn.
I don't know if that's true. You want to pull that up? See if
Yeah, I think
does
Twitter did use porn. I'm pretty sure.
I think
I'm
Twitter
pretty
is
sure it's not allowed
I think Twitter has always said that we allow this.
because the App Store doesn't allow that.
Really?
The App Store will ban you if you allow adult content.
And yet another, and this goes back to Luke's theory of the tech overlords have one set of rules
it's
for
banned?
themselves.
No,
and-
if you type Twitter porn into search, there's a lot of Twitter porn accounts coming up. I'm not.
Okay, well,
clicking
that's
on it.
not what we're looking
Stay focused. Stay focused. Okay, we got a job.
You want to know
here.
is porn on Twitter? Was that the question?
Is it banned?
No,
on
no,
Twitter?
no.
I think it's
I
fine
think
on
we
Twitter.
all generally
No,
agree
no, did
that
you look it up?
is on Twitter.
Yes, it is in
Oh.
fact on Twitter.
The question is it against,
Is it allowed or is it against the terms?
you know,
Yeah.
is it against the terms of service?
Non-consensual nudity policy.
Well, that's like revenge porn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
consensual
yeah.
nudity, they're okay with. Why doesn't
Yes.
Twitter block porn? I think the idea was they were
If
going
you
to
go
let
to
porn.
Twitter terms of service, it will state under this that it differentiates between consensually produced
You may
adult
you may
content
not post media that is excessively
versus-
gory or share violent or adult content within live video or in profile or header images. Media depicting sexual violence and or assault is also not permitted. So does that mean porn is banned?
Doesn't
Sounds
sound
like
like
it.
it.
You could
It
click
doesn't sound
more.
like it.
You could
No,
click
it's just
more,
saying
right?
it's just saying that it can't be in your profile or your header.
Right, but it can be in your actual feed.
No, it doesn't even say anything about that.
I don't know. Seems like a
You can't advert.
Look
It
up-
does not actually.
Look up the revenge porn policy because
Well, that's obvious.
But I believe it's mentioned in there.
That was it. Yeah.
What is not a violation of the policy? Look.
Oh, I see.
Pornography and other forms of consensually
Are
produced
allowed
adult
on Twitter.
content
Okay,
are
there you
allowed
go.
on Twitter.
They
Yeah.
are allowed on Twitter. All
Yeah.
right. Well, then how are they allowed in the App Store?
Yeah.
That's
a
crazy.
good question, and that's something that we battled with at Minds in the
Right.
early days. Like, how do you? They just know people. It's
Because
like
the
you
tech
get in, you're in the
because
club.
they're out there, the oligarchs. Right, they're in the club, man.
The friends of the friends.
And you are not.
Interesting.
Ultimately,
Well,
I
man.
think all these sites should be allowed to have whatever terms they want. Expect to get banned on any of them if it's not your platform. That's one way to go about it. I don't trust any of this stuff, especially if the code's private.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.